But let's put that into the perspective of a dad expecting a baby, such as yourself. You're expecting your second baby.
Yes.
But even when you're expecting your first baby, how do you, what are dads to do when they don't know anything about childbirth? You know what I'm saying? How does the dad, if he's not seeking ways to and methods to support, right? How are dads to navigate this space they're in that's a space they don't know anything about?
Well, I mean, traditionally, we kind of deal with it as we've done. But again, as you continue to build up those barriers, you become kind of, I call it emotionally constipated, right? You get built up, then you express it negatively in different instances. How it's manifested within myself is because, again, now you're raising a small person, an aspect of, discipline or getting them to do what you want to do. And from a place of restraint, because it's like, nah, I'm not just beating my child because that's what y'all did to make you okay. It's like, well, I got to be creative. And I've had times where I've like raised my voice or have gotten impatient or frustrated, and I'd apologize. I'm sorry, Teague. I didn't mean to take it there. To where I start getting more creative with things I don't even give to my guys. I'm sitting with Teague and trying to do controlled breathing. A lot of it for me is the non-tangible or physical things to help and support. With the first child, I could tell distinctly, like one of the pivotal moments that we had was the late nights. And we, like, my wife used to covet naps. So we,
yes,
we value
we're
sleep.
nap queens.
Yeah, like, we definitely value sleep.
Yes.
And so, like, we in the bed, and this is a whole new thing. We got this little person in the bed with us.
Not letting you sleep.
And it's like she would get up and she would respond, and also just ways that we defer to the wife. What am I supposed to do right now? Especially you're breastfeeding. Like, I can't take your boob and help the child. So what do I do in this instance? And I remember her was like, just the things that y'all know instinctually.
Yeah.
Again, me just being logical was like, you bared this person for 9 months. Like,
Sure.
Of course you're gonna have a different level of attachment. I need for you to tell me, or at least give me insight. And I remember her getting up and she's like, why don't you get up? Like, you don't ask you. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I said, be patient with me and extend some grace, because I don't have the same instincts as you. Now, given my education and vocabulary, I think that's why I was able to have the conversation the way I did. Pretty sure those alls don't happen that way.
So those are conversations that should happen before
Yes.
you have the baby gets here. Because that middle of the night fatigue, and you're sleeping and getting good sleep, and I'm up, my boobs hurt, this child is nursing and all the things, and you're sleeping, that's all she can see. And it's like, dude, I'm going to need you to sit up and stare at me while I'm up too.
I mean,
like
the meme of wanting to punch us in the face because we're enjoying our rest.
that part.
We
No.
got it. And it's like, well, I don't know any different.
What else to do?
So I'm waking up just to ask so you could tell me no. So
Yeah.
I can go back to sleep.
Okay. So
But I
it's
asked,
a two-way street.
and I inquired, and that was something even within our relationship that I think is a simple concept that we don't think about. Just ask, and just stop assuming that I got it because I just go through things as I'm accustomed to. Are you okay? So with the first child, there was a lot of us learning ourselves, and so we started doing check-ins.
Got it.
Well, how are you? What do you need? There's even a concept I've seen, I think on IG, that I love about, like, relationships aren't necessarily 50-50, or sometimes it's 80-20.
Sure.
And so, like, I might have to cover that 20%, because 80%, especially in initial childbirth, right, where there's a lot of dependency and attachment to the child. And especially with first-time mothers, that I think goes to the extent, like, they want to extend that connection for however long.
Right.
So we still getting Tika out of our bed. If she sees this, it is what it is. But, that level of attachment, engagement, right? To where I had to wait for certain shifts.
Sure.
Also understanding that we have different relationships with said child. So I don't feel any type of way now when she's like, last night was like, I want daddy to sleep with me. Then was like, no, I want mommy. I'm like, cool, I'm tired.
And that's an important concept for breastfeeding, right? You can't feed the baby. You know that you can't feed the baby. Mom knows that she has to feed the baby if she's nursing, if she's breastfeeding. So knowing each other's role and part in that, right? And accepting it for what it is, and then picking it up somewhere else.
I mean, and so the first, I think only person that gave her actual bottle was me. And then the dope exchange that Tegan and I have had was figuring it out in mom's absence. So, like, mom went away,
Right.
and again, getting better at communicating language and how you're feeling, and she had a full-fledged meltdown. And again, me observing this as an adult professional, I'm like, once they're committed, they're committed. There's no like changing that mindset, stopping. My child is not going, well, unless it's something they want. They're full-fledged crying, but oh, you want an ice pop or a pony? Yeah, but like she was committed to this meltdown. And I said, you're upset because mommy's going, huh? She's like, yes. I was like, so you're just overwhelmed, you don't know what to do? No. We laid on the floor and she cried until we fell asleep in a pile of clothes.
Wow.
But that was a growth moment. So even within, our relationship, again, as she's weaning her off the boob and now I'm able to share some of the responsibility.
Sure.
It's not solely on her. There's actually things that I can do, is figuring out what that looks like and how to navigate that for ourselves. Right. Like, and so even when it's coming through like, okay, you're tired. She's been crying. She's not listening. I'll take over. Let me rock her to sleep. Give her we call it
and that's
shoulder.
when the flexibility comes in. I think that a lot of moms may not, or couples may not think that there are phases with this thing. There are phases that it's going to look one way one day, and 2 weeks later it might look another way, or 3 months later it might look this way. But they're just phases that you're going in and out of constantly. There's these different transitions, in which your role might look different.
Yep. And also, I think part of the grace that you give is allowing each parent to figure it out. I've had adamant times I'm like, let her cry. We have to go through this. Because then you become rescuing. And if your issue is that you're trying to differentiate the attachment, so she goes to both parents, there's, a give and a take of that. Now, and also how much you trust your partner.